Hello students, I am here with another video from the 4th chapter of class 7th science, that is heat. Now before starting today's video, I would like to tell you that what I have taught in the previous video. So till now we have discussed about the concept of heat and cold, as well as how to measure this heat and cold with the help of the degree called temperature, and that temperature is measured with the help of thermometer. We have also seen the types of thermometer, that is the clinical thermometer and the laboratory thermometer. Beside these two thermometers, we have discussed about one more thermometer, that is digital thermometer. And today I am going to discuss about the topic transfer of heat. So what is the meaning of the word transfer? First of all, let us understand that transfer means something is going from one place to another place. Now in this case, what is getting transferred, what is being transferred is the heat. Now heat has a capacity that it flows from hot object to cold object, or it always flows from the higher temperature to the object which is at lower temperature. Okay, so the heat has a capacity to flow from high temperature to low temperature. Now this high temperature means it is the hot object, and this is the cold object. Okay, so this is how the temperature of the heat is going to flow, because of the difference in the temperature. So you should understand that there should be a difference in the temperature, so that the heat is flowing from one place to another place, which is from its higher temperature to the lower temperature. So this flow of heat, this movement of heat is known as transfer of heat. Okay, so transfer of heat means nothing but it is the flow of heat from its higher temperature to the lower temperature. Something which is hot becomes cold after some time. Okay, something which is cold is not going to become hot if it is kept at room temperature. Got it? So for example, if the ice is there in the you have kept the ice in a bowl, it is not going to turn back, it is going to turn back into water, but that water is not going to boil up at room temperature. Got it? It is again that water is it is going to be stable in the water condition. So from the lower temperature the heat has flown, now this water has become from the ice, because the heat from the surrounding has entered that ice cube, means heat is always flowing from its higher to lower concentration. Okay, fine. Water is boiling, becomes cold. Cold water never becomes warmer, isn't it? So this is how heat is always flowing from higher temperature to its lower temperature. Please remember. Now example is that if you dip a steel spoon into a cup of hot tea, what will you find? That the temperature of spoon rises and it becomes hot. After some time, when you are going to touch that spoon becomes hot. In this case, some of the heat contained in the hot tea has been transferred from the spoon to the spoon which is placed inside that hot cup of tea. Okay, so always remember that heat always flows from its higher temperature to lower temperature. Now next is that when the two objects attain the same temperature, then this flow of heat stops. Now the next question arises that till what time this flow of heat will take place. So when it is going to stop? When the temperature difference is there, when the object is hot and object is cold. Now from heat is going to flow from hot object to cold object, and it is going to flow till the time the temperature of these two objects becomes normal, means it is equal. So heat flow stops once both the object becomes at the same temperature. So this means that no heat will be transferred from one object to another object if the temperature of these two objects is same. There are three ways from which this heat is getting transferred from the hot object to the cold object. So these three ways are as follows. The first way is conduction, then convection, and then radiation. So these are the three major ways by which heat is transferred, by which you could see that heat is transferred from the hot object to the cold object. Now let us discuss what is the meaning of the word conduction, convection and radiation in detail. So here in the diagram you could see the example of conduction, convection and radiation at a glance. You can say that in this case, in this example, you could see that there is a fire which is burning, and in the fire you are keeping the conduction, you are keeping the one rod, and this rod becomes hot after some time. So this is how the heat is transferred from in the solids. That heat transfer in the solid is termed as conduction. Now in the convection means whenever the heat is flown in the gases and in the liquid, then the such kind of transfer of heat is known as convection. And on the other hand, this radiation means when the heat is transferred in the vacuum where there is no medium to flow. Okay, so whenever the heat is flowing in the states of matter, such as there are three states of matter, okay, solid, liquid and gas. So this, if the heat transfer is taking place in solids, it is known as conduction. If the heat transfer is taking place in liquids and gases, it is known as convection. Now if there is none of these states of matter is present there in the surrounding, then it becomes a vacuum. Now if the heat is transferring in the surrounding where there is no particles, there is no state of matter, then in that condition the heat transfer will be taking place with the help of radiation. Now let us discuss these three ways of heat transfer one by one in detail. Now the first concept which we are going to discuss is about the conduction. Okay, so what is this conduction? The mode of conduction of heat transfer from hotter part of the material to the colder part of the material, from a hot material to from a hot material to cold material, okay, without the movement of the particle without the movement of the material as a whole. This is known as conduction. Okay, why this is taking place in conduction? So in conduction it always takes place in solids. Now if we talk about solids, you could see that the molecules are present in each solid. Means I would just like to introduce the word molecule here. So I will just give you the concept of molecule first. So we know that on the earth there are three types of materials present. Either the material will be solid, or it will be a liquid, or it will be a gas. Okay, so just have some examples of solids, liquids and gases from the surroundings, such as, see, the water might be kept in the water bottle, so that water is a liquid. Okay, if you think about water bottle, it is a solid, and the place where it is kept in the room is all filled with air. So whatever things you are thinking about, so either it could be a solid, or it could be a liquid, or it could be a gas. Fine. So conduction takes place only in solids. Now why it takes place in solid, I'll just let you know. Before that, I just like to tell you that all these states of matter is made up of very tiny particles. Okay, they are made up of very tiny particles. Now these particles are present in the states of matter, that is they are present in solid also, they are present in liquid also, they are also present in the gaseous state, but the way of the presence of these particles is different. In solids, these particles are very closely, very tightly packed. There is no place for the movement. Okay, now in the gaseous, suppose that in water, if you think about, so in the water molecules are they are a little bit far away from each other, so there is a space for movement. Okay, now what happens in the gaseous state? In the gaseous state, the molecules are very far away from each other. Okay, that is why there is lots of space for the movement. Now next thing is that I just introduce the word molecules here, tiny particles from which the material is made up of. So this material is, if the conduction of heat is taking place in the solids, means where the particles are very tightly packed, so there is no place for the movement of the particles in the solids. So what will happen? When the heat is transferred, it is going to move from the region of its higher concentration to the lower concentration. Okay, the place this becomes, for example, if you are keeping this end of the rod on fire, this part of the rod becomes hot. Okay, now what happens? The molecule which is taking up the heat is going to transfer the heat to the next molecule. In the same manner, it is going to transfer to the next molecule. Okay, so what will happen? If it is going to transfer to the next molecule, then it is going to transfer to the next molecule. This next molecule is going to transfer to the next one. So this is how the complete rod is going to be it is going to become hot after some time. Now this takes some few seconds, means it takes less time. Okay, now it takes some time. As soon as the one end of the rod becomes hot, it is going to transfer the heat from its molecules. Its molecule is not going to move from its place. Why? Because in the solids there is no place for the movement of the molecule. Okay, so this is how the conduction is going to take place, where the heat is transferred from hotter part of the material to its colder part. Okay, so hot material becomes cold. In the same manner, this kind of movement of the material, this kind of movement of the heat which is taking place in the solids, the molecules are not moving, only the heat is being transferred. Okay, fine. So this is known as the conduction of heat. Now on the basis of this conduction of heat, the materials could be divided into two parts, that is conductors and the insulators. So conductors are those materials which will allow the flow of heat very easily. Okay, suppose that metal is there in your home. Whenever you cook something, you just put the metal plate on the metal container over the gas stove, so that the heat could be transferred easily. So this is the only reason because of which you keep the metallic vessel on the gas stove. You are not going to put a vessel which is made up of clay, or which is made up of the wood, or which is made up of the thermocol. Okay, so the material which is allowing the heat to transfer, that is for example metals, so they are going to be the good conductor of heat. Okay, so they become conductors. Now next type of material is the bad conductor of heat, or they are called insulators. So good conductor of heat and the bad conductor of heat. So good conductor of heat is based upon conduction. The object which could conduct the heat is known as conductors, and the object which is not going to conduct the heat is known as insulator, or the bad conductors. Fine. So the bad conductors of heat are those which do not allow the heat to pass through them very easily. So they are known as insulators. For example, wood, plastic, glass are the examples of such insulators. That is why you could summarize that whenever some materials are made, some utensils are made in your kitchen, you could see that both the things are present. Metal is also present, and that plastic handle is also present in the pan. Okay, suppose that a frying pan is there, you could see that this body of this frying pan is made up of metal, but this handle is made up of plastic. Now you only tell me that metals are conductors or insulators. Okay, so metals are conductors, yes, and as you know that plastics are insulators. So this is the very practical application of the insulators as well as the conductors. Okay, in the further slide I'll just let you know what are the applications of these conductors and the insulators in your daily life. Okay, we go on to the next slide. See, this is the example which is given in your NCERT book also, that heat is transferred from one end to the another end, where you are heating this rod with the help of the candle. Now heat is transferred from the molecules which is near to the heat to the area where the heat is not present. Okay, so it always flows from warmer to cooler area. Okay, it requires contact. So please remember, without contacting you cannot heat up the objects by conduction. So this is how conduction is taking place. Remember, whenever the heat is flowing in, heat is always flowing in solids. So this is called conduction. Next is the use of good and bad conductors of heat. So here you will see that there are certain examples where you could see that the conductors and insulators are involved together. So during winter season we generally wear woolen clothes. If we compare them with cotton clothes, we will find that these wool fibers have more spaces in between them. These spaces filled with air. Okay, now air is a bad conductor of heat. Hence, being an insulator, both wool and air together prevents the heat from our body escaping out, and your body remains warmer. Okay, you just think of sweater or a shawl. Okay, because of which you feel warmer. Now if you are feeling about this, what is present in the wool? So this wool has, you could see that this wool has lots of space in between. So inside these space, the air molecules are going to be filled up. Okay, so it is filled up with the air molecule. Now this air molecule is a bad conductor of heat, means it is an insulator. Air is an insulator. So this helps in trapping the body heat from getting escaped from the sweater. Okay, because of the layers of wool and the sweater, the sweater becomes it acts as an insulator, because of which you feel hot. Okay, you feel warm inside the sweater. Fine. Now we go on to the next topic, that is one more example is given. Jute and the sawdust are also the bad conductors of heat. That is why if we covered the ice with jute or sawdust to prevent it from gaining heat from surrounding and also melting. Okay, you have seen, if you have gone to the market, and if you have seen that whenever the place where ice is being sold, they keep the ice in the inside a cloth which is made up of jute. Okay, they keep it in a jute bag, or they keep it in the rug. Okay, so why it is kept in the jute bag? Because you know that jute is a bad conductor of heat, which is not going to allow the heat from the surrounding to go inside that to reach to that ice, so that it could melt. So you could prevent melting of the ice for a longer time when you keep the ice covered with the jute cloth. Okay, next, the double walls of refrigerator also having space inside it. Okay, it's very common that if you see your refrigerator, it is also having some space in its door. So the space which is there in the door, so that also has space, is covered, it is filled with insulating material. It is filled with insulating material. And why it is filled with insulating material? Because from the surrounding, the heat should not enter inside your refrigerator. That is why your refrigerator becomes cool. Okay, and some more things are also there, some more devices are also placed inside the refrigerators, because of which it is going to be cool. Okay, now but the door is also not allowing the heat to enter inside your refrigerator, and that is why, because the doors are also having insulator inside it. Now next is, there are two thinner blankets, one at the top of each other, during winter season are much more effective, just because that air is trapped between the thin blankets. Okay, if you are just covering yourself with only one blanket, that is not going to prevent you from the cold. Why? Because your body requires more heat to be more heat. Then what you will do, you will add one more blanket over it. So what will happen in between the two layers of the blanket? What will happen? The air is going to be trapped. Now once the air is going to be trapped, same as that of the sweater, which example I just discussed it before 2-3 minutes. So this air is a bad conductor of heat. It is not allowing the air to the cold to enter inside your blanket, and you will feel that it is going to help you in the winter a lot. So two thin blankets are much more effective in the cold weather, rather than you are only putting on the one blanket. Okay, sometimes there are two things which with the same temperature, it seems like they are at different temperature, but one being cold and another being warm. This happens because some things are good conductor of heat, whereas others are poor conductors of heat. During winter season, metal object kept in the room, it feels colder to touch, but wooden object at the same time you feel warmer to touch. Now metal object is a good conductor of heat, so that we could touch the metal objects and it conducts away the heat from our hand quickly. Okay, by losing heat, our hand feels cooled. Now on the other hand, wooden object being a poor conductor of heat does not allow the heat to escape from your hand, so that you feel warmer to touch. Okay, so this is the reason. These are some examples from which you could see that by which you could understand the various applications of good and the bad conductor of heat. Okay, and you please remember that the water and air both are the bad conductors of heat. Okay, next topic is about convection. Now we'll talk about the second way of transference of heat, that is convection. So convection is a mode of transfer of heat from the hotter part of the fluid, or that is fluid means something which could flow, means liquid and gases, to its colder part by the movement of the liquid itself is known as convection. Now in conduction we have studied that molecules are not moving, they are at its place. They are at its place. Why they are at its place? Because they don't have gap in between. Now what about liquids? The molecules of the liquids are away from each other and they could move to certain limit. So what will happen? As soon as the liquid becomes hot, then these molecules are leaving its place and moving here and there, and because of which the complete molecule is going to become hot and the liquid starts boiling. Okay, so the mode of transference of heat in the fluid is known as convection. Fluid means liquid as well as gases. It is not only liquid, it could be liquid or gases. Now the transference of heat will remain same. It is from the hotter region to the colder region. Okay, so please remember, this is due to the reason that particles of the liquids and gases could move very easily. So please remember the concept why convection is taking place. It is taking place because liquids and gases can move easily as their molecules have space in between. Now the transfer of heat in the convection cannot take place in the solid, as the particles of solid are fixed at one place. They cannot move freely. It is also not occurred in the empty space or vacuum, because there is no particles which could transfer the heat from one place to another. So convection is only possible in liquids and gases, because the concept of convection says that molecule gains heat and it moves from one place to another. Okay, one molecule is gaining heat, it moves from one place to another. Here one liquid is the molecules which are at the base becomes hot, they gain heat and they are moving in the upward direction. Okay, now why this is moving from downward to upward direction? Because once the molecule becomes hot, it becomes lighter. Okay, hot air or hot liquid becomes lighter and it moves at the surface. So this takes place continuously. The lower layer becomes up from the upper, it moves to the upper side, and from the upper region this colder water is going to fill the space which is made by the movement of the molecule which is at the base. Okay, so please remember what is happening. The molecules which are at the base, they become hot, they become lighter and they move up. The molecule which are present here at the top, they are colder as compared to this region, as compared to the lower region, so they are going to move downwards. Okay, so it is heavy. This colder particles are heavy than this hot particles, so this colder particles are going to move downwards, and again this becomes hot and again it is going to rise up. So there is a continuous current flowing in the liquid. So this is how the complete liquid becomes hot. Okay, it is going to boil. Now if you have made tea, you have always observed that the tea leaves are moving in the round direction. Okay, if the tea leaves are there, they are going in the round direction. Why they are moving in the round direction? It is not the tea leaves that are moving, it is the water which is moving. So water molecules are going to show you the continuous movement. Why? Because molecules of water are moving here and there so that the liquid becomes hot. Okay, so this is what is convection. Next, two things could be seen. Convection is also seen in water, convection is also seen in air. So I told you that convection is a mode of heat of transfer in liquids as well as in the gases. So in the liquid, for example, water is a poor conductor of heat, so due to this reason it cannot be transferred. It cannot transfer heat by conduction because the molecules are away from each other. So this transfers the heat in the form of convection. Similarly, air is also a poor conductor of heat, so it cannot conduct the conduction. It cannot transfer the heat from its hotter part to its colder part with the help of conduction. So it always require a next process called convection, where one molecule gets heated up, it moves upwards, and again from the upward direction the molecule which is colder, it is going to come downward. Now there is some practical application of the transference of heat through convection. Okay, we'll see in the next slide. Now these are the two main practical applications of the conduction and convection. which is given in your NCERT book. There are a few more examples, such as why ventilators are placed at the top of the room. Okay, so because whenever we are present in a room, the room becomes hot. Okay, now why exhausts are placed at the top of your classroom, or where of the room, or of the from the kitchen roof of the kitchen? Why it is placed at the higher area? Why? Because you know that inside a room, if this is an exhaust which is kept at the higher place, why it is kept? Because you know that this room is having some hot air inside it. So what happens? This hot air which is getting the air which is getting warmer becomes light. Remember that hot air becomes light. So this lighter air is going to move upwards, and it is going to go outside. Now what happened? Cold air which is present inside the room, it is going to go in the downward direction. It is going to fill that space which is emptied by the movement of the hotter particles. So this circulation of air is proper inside a room. Why cross ventilation is required? The same reason is there, that if two windows are open, from one window it is going ventilators are always placed higher, so that the hot air is moving from the exhaust and through the ventilators, whereas the cold air is going to come inside through your window. So this is how the this is how the convection is going to take place inside your room. So another practical application is sea breeze and the land breeze. What is the meaning of the word breeze? Breeze means a very slow moving air. Okay, slow moving air. So this is called breeze. Now what is this land breeze and sea breeze? So sea breeze always is on the sea shore, and land breeze is always seen on the land. Now how is that being possible? So why these two breezes are blowing? So the blowing of sea breeze and the land breeze in the coastal areas is generally occurred due to the convection of heat in the air. Okay, convection means lighter hot air will move from one place, and the cold air is going to fill that space which is empty. I'll just explain you after some time. In the coastal areas during daytime, now you could see this diagram which is drawn here. In the coastal areas, you could feel that breeze is coming from the water is hotter or it is colder. Okay, now when in the daytime, the breeze generally flows from sea towards land, and during night time it flows from land towards sea. This sea and the land breeze actually is the convection of the heat. Okay, so this is an example of convection of heat. Now during daytime, what happens? During daytime, the sun rays is coming on the land as well as on the sea. Okay, in the sea also this sunlight is reaching, and on the land also this is reaching. Now please tell me which one is going to get warmer at the faster rate, this water or this sand or this land? Okay, you could do this experiment by keeping two plates, by taking two plates, fill it with one container with sand and another container with water. Okay, with water. Now keep it in sun, and you find after some time, you just come and see after 1 or 2 hours, you would just see that this sand becomes hot faster as compared to the water which is kept in the container. So the same concept is applied here also, that whenever the sunlight is falling on the sea as well as it is falling on the land equally, at the same time this land becomes more hotter than this sea water. Okay, now once this land becomes hot, the air which is present on the land also becomes hotter. Now I have told you that hot air becomes light and it moves upwards. As it moves upwards, the cold air which is coming from this which is present here at the sea, just above the sea, it is going to rush towards the land area. Why? Because there will be more space. If only one molecule is not getting heat, all the molecules which is present is getting heat. So what will happen? The land area becomes hotter very faster, and the cold air from the sea is going to come and fill the space which is present at the land. Okay, which is present at the land. Now we'll see the concept. The concept says, during daytime the land heats up more than the water. Due to this, the air over the land becomes hotter and lighter, and it rises up. So air from the sea, which is cooler and heavier, rushes to take the place created by hot rising air. Therefore, the sea breeze is blows during daytime. So remember that sea breeze always is going to blow during daytime. Why? During daytime, the colder air is coming from sea towards land. Why it is coming from sea towards land? Because this land is warming up very faster rate, and the hot air rises up, and this, as soon as this hot air rises up, there is space which is made here. So that's empty space is going to be filled with this cold air which is coming from the sea. So air is moving from where to where? It is moving from sea to land. So this is called sea breeze. Okay, this is only what is known as sea breeze. Okay, now I think you have understood that what is the meaning of sea breeze. Just the opposite thing is going to happen during night time. Now during night time, this land is again getting colder very fast. At the night time, what will happen? The land loses the heat faster rate, and water becomes cooler, and this land becomes cooler, and air above the sea is hot. Okay, it is going to, the air above the sea is now warmer. Now what will happen? This hot air is going to rise up during night time, and where the space is formed? This space is formed, empty space is formed in the sea, just above the air which is present above the sea. So cold air is going to rush through from the land towards sea. Now the air is blowing from where to where? It is moving from land towards sea. Okay, so this is known as land breeze, because air is moving from land towards sea. So the concept is, the land loses heat faster during night time and becomes cooler, and air above the sea is now warmer, due to which it rises up, and the cold air above the land rushes to take place the area which is just above the sea. Okay, this is now known as the land breeze, and land breeze always blows during night time. Fine. So this was about land breeze and the sea breeze. See, you could see in one more diagram which is much more clear. In the daytime, what happens? The land becomes warmer, and from the land this warm air is moving upside, and this is going to be filled with the cold air which is coming from the sea. So this circulation goes on. There is a continuous circulation of the air which is taking place. It is also known as convectional current. Okay, so current means something which is moving in a continuous form. So this is called current. So water is, sometimes you have heard about water current. So what is the meaning of water current? Water current means water is moving just one after another by making a line. So it is known as water current. Air current is also known as. So what current is nothing but it is the form of the movement of the molecules continuously. So here in the land breeze, warm air is moving upwards, and the cold air is going to move from sea towards land, which is in the form of sea breeze during daytime. During night time, warm air is going to move from the sea above the land, and this cold air from the land is going to fill that empty space just above the sea. So air is moving from land towards sea. That is why it is called land breeze. Okay, so please remember, this sea breeze is always during daytime, and this land breeze always takes place during night time. This is very clear from this diagram. Okay, where in one diagram sun is shining, where you could see each and everything clearly. In the night time, the stars are shown here in this picture, so you could see it very clearly that sea breeze is always taking place during day, and land breeze is always taking place during night time. Now the third heat transference is the way of radiation. Now what is this radiation? I told you that conduction always takes place in solids, convection takes place in liquid, whereas radiation is the way of heat transference when there is no solid or no liquid. Okay, now the mode of transference of heat, through which heat is transferred from cold body to hot body by means of heat without any medium. There will be no medium. Medium is there will be no states of matter, either solid, liquid or gas, between the radiation. Example, sun's heat is always reaching to the earth's surface by the process of radiation. As the sun is very far away from the earth, there are mainly empty space and the vacuum in the space. Okay, there is in the space there is nothing. That is why it is called space. Space means there is nothing, no medium is present over there, no solid, no liquid, no gaseous state. So sun's heat always reaches from the from crossing the space only, from crossing the vacuum only. So this is that is why it heats up the earth's atmosphere. Okay, so earth has an atmosphere which is going to trap the sunlight, and it is going to be circulated inside. This is a fact because of which sun is extremely hot. It emits invisible heat radiation, infrared, in all the direction. In the same way, this radiation could be seen here when you light up a fire, but you sit just away from the place of the fire, then also the radiation is reaching towards you. Okay, it is one more example could be there. There will be convection because the heat is flowing because of convection. Fine. So radiation could be seen just beside this place where heat of the fire is seen in the form of radiation. Okay, these radiation could travel. These radiations travel through a vacuum between the sun and the earth at very high speed, and ultimately it reaches our earth. Therefore, we can say that a transfer of heat from the hot object to the cold object is by radiation. It does not require any medium. In our daily life, we will see many such situations where heat is transferred from the radiation of air. For example, depending upon the temperature of the surrounding, our body too gives heat to the surrounding and receives heat from the surrounding by radiation. Now, if hot vessel is filled with hot milk and is kept away from the flame, then it cools down by the transferring heat from the surrounding from the vessel to the surrounding by radiation. Okay. Now, if you see a burning fire, if you sit next to burning fire, you feel heat of the fire falling at your face. This heat is transferred from fire to our face with the help of radiation. Okay, so the heat radiation is taking place everywhere where the temperature is higher. Okay, it is going to transfer the place where there is no, it does not require any medium to travel. Okay, next you could see the example where from by which the heat is reaching from the sun towards earth by the process of the transfer of heat called radiation. Okay. So, this is the best example of radiation which you could prove that from the sun in the space, it is crossing the space. As you could see here, it is crossing the space and then it is reaching here on the earth's surface. Fine. So, in the space there is no medium, there is no solid, there is no liquid, there is no gas. So, there will be no medium, there will be no states of matter. It is crossing the space means there is vacuum, nothing but there is vacuum. So, if the heat transference is taking place because of no medium, then it is called the radiation. So, this is the best example where sun's heat is reaching our earth surface where there is by the process of radiation. Okay, so we have discussed about the ways by which the heat is transferred, that is conduction. We have discussed about conduction, we have discussed about convection, we have also discussed about radiation. Okay. Now, in conduction we have discussed about the good conductors as well as the bad conductors of electricity. Conductors and insulators we have discussed. We have also seen the practical applications. We have seen the utilities of these conductors and the insulators in our home, in our kitchen. Okay, in the place where where you could see it, such as utensils are made up of both conductors as well as insulators. They are the combination of the substance. You could make a list of such utensils in which you could see the conductors as well as the insulators. For example, screwdrivers are there. Screwdrivers, the handles of the screwdrivers are always made from plastics, or it is made from the wood. Why it is made from the wood? Because it is going to give you the heat could flow from one place to another. The best examples are the utensils, where utensils are made up of metals which are the good conductors, and their handles are always made from the insulators, that is either from the wood or they are made from the plastics. Next, we have seen about the convection, where heat transference is taking place in the liquids and gases, means the heat transference in the fluids. So, convection can be seen in water as water current and in air as air current. Fine. Land breeze and sea breeze, we have also seen that in the land breeze the air is moving from land towards sea during night time, and in the sea breeze the air is moving from the sea towards the land in the daytime. Okay, and please remember that hot air becomes lighter and it rises up. The molecule which becomes hotter, it rises up in the convection also. The next type the last type which we have studied was the radiation, where the heat transference does not require any kind of medium to travel. So, the best example of radiation is the heat which is reaching from the sun to the earth's surface. Okay, I hope you all have understood this topic, that transference of heat is taking place in the various ways, and I think all the ways of the heat transfer is clear to everybody. I hope the concept has built up in your concept might have built up in your mind, and I'll meet you with the next topic, with the next topic of this chapter. That will be the types of clothes which we wear in the next video. That's all for today. I'll meet you people in the next video.